Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Slappin Kpop podcast. I am Kayla, and today I am here with Sammy.
Hello.
And we are here to do, surprise, surprise, Kingdom Legendary War preview episode. Because, of course, we have to podcast this show.
Oh, boy.
I don't think we have another choice at this point.
It's our brand now. I think we have to.
And now half of this podcast is just centered around Mnet survival show, so that's just where we're at now.
I'm far more excited for Produce Month.
Oh, yes. Produce Month coming in March. And then...
Be excited for that.
Yes.
And then April is just going to be this show, probably.
And then we're just going to continue after Produce Month with another Mnet survival show with Kingdom, so we're just going to keep on that train for a while.
Keep on keeping on.
Yep.
So the groups on this show, we're going to do like a really short preview of these groups, which are ATEEZ, BTOB, iKON, SF9, Stray Kids, and winners of Road to Kingdom, the Boyz.
And also TVXQ, who are the hosts.
And also TVXQ, who's hosting.
Mm-hmm. It's not going to be at all like it's not going to be at all like the Road to Kingdom preview, because like we're not here to give you a history of these entire groups, because I don't feel like we need to do that.
That's a lot, and also, again, the more time passes between Mnet reality shows, we're gonna put less and less effort in, because I think Mnet is as well.
Yeah, honestly, because we're just like, okay, we're just gonna bare minimum here.
We're gonna wing it, and I think it's gonna be cash, and that's usually where we're gonna talk about a little bit of first we'll talk about our opinions of the group, then we'll talk about how we think they're gonna do on Kingdom Legendary War. But before we do that, we're going to talk about how the show is called Kingdom Legendary War.
Yep.
And how
let's talk about that for a second.
Impossible to look up this show.
There's so many, like, Kingdom-related things for South Korea that it's like, you get so many different things that are not this show before you look it up.
You get, mostly you get the new boy group Kingdom, which is debuting now.
You get the Netflix K-drama Kingdom.
Yep. And then you get actual Korean kingdoms of history.
Yep.
That's too much. It's
like
the
branding is like not good, but also I feel like there isn't really anything else they could have called it anyway. So like you're just kind of
you have to call it Kingdom because
there's
you
no
called
other
the first
title.
One Kingdom.
Yeah.
But the other thing with that is that also the fact that it's called Legendary War, one, makes it sound like it's a video game, and two, I think that they're gonna, because again, the one difference is I thought that this would maybe, and by thought I mean I hoped, because I genuinely expected it to go this direction, but I hoped we would get back to, like, since these are more successful groups, we would get more to the queendom aspect where this wasn't really a competition show. But it's called Legendary War. I feel like they're gonna go more, like, Road to Kingdom was so intense and like life and death almost.
Dear God, it was so
Or
dumb.
at least they tried. It was terrible in that way. That's the worst part of that show, was how intense they made it. Mm-hmm. And Queendom was not that at all.
No, not at all.
I'm hoping that they go more the Queendom angle, because these are all already successful groups, but also it's called Kingdom Legendary War.
So many people complained about the elimination aspect of Road to Kingdom, and then even the producers like, okay, well maybe we were wrong about that. So let's hope we learn a lesson there and we don't bring it back for actual Kingdom, but like who knows? I honestly got no faith in them. So like we'll see.
I don't.
No faith.
I have no faith.
I got no faith in this show.
But again, are we gonna watch it? I think we're gonna watch some good performances.
And I'm gonna see probably good performances and also really horrible performances, because that's bound to happen
too. But that's been every season of this show.
Because it's just bound to happen. Like, of course you're gonna get bad performances on this like format of a show.
Also, if you're by the way, because we're gonna talk 100% honestly about how we think these groups are gonna do. I hope, because we're also gonna tell you we also think some of these groups are gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Simply not because the groups themselves are bad, just because of the nature of this show tends to bring out the worst in some groups.
It really does.
Example, G-Idol from Queendom.
And Pentagon.
And Pentagon from Road to Kingdom. Like, that's...
Cube. Cube. I think Cube's got a bad track record on this show.
Again, we'll talk about... And so if you're a mega fan of any of these groups, I'm not gonna apologize, but also, like, don't watch this if you can't think that some of these groups are going to be bad, because they will be.
Yeah, they will.
All right.
Bound to happen.
We're gonna work in reverse debut order,
except for one, because we have to talk about the Boyz debuted before ATEEZ. So.
Oh, they did. All right, we're gonna talk about the winner of last season first.
Yes.
So it's the Boyz.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, we like the Boyz.
They were very
Anyone
good.
Who's been listening?
Really good on Road to Kingdom.
Very good on Road to Kingdom, and just very good recently, like from Reveal, even the Stealer, all of that has been very good.
Mm-hmm.
And so
they've been just on an upward trajectory of popularity. They're very popular now. Like, very much deserve to be on the show.
Especially in Korea. And like, genuinely, I'm very happy that they won because there was no other.
There was no other option.
Other option.
No options other than them to win that show. Yeah.
No one should. No. Like, that's the difference between Queendom, where it's like Queendom. There was a few groups. Again, I still think Oh My Girl should have won that by a long shot, but. I think
I came into Queendom thinking Mamamoo was probably going to win, and then they won because they were just way more popular, and that's just how that was going to work.
Same.
Yeah.
But in a way, that's when you get like one of the top, like, in terms of popularity, one of the like top 5 most popular girl groups against groups that are
like, that's just what's gonna happen. Like, what else do you expect to happen 20. There? Yeah.
I will say, and we'll get back onto the Boyz in a second. I do think that all of these groups, with the exception of maybe the fact that Stray Kids is getting very popular in recent times, I think they're about average because I don't think you can get the top tippity top tier boy groups. This
is as high as they could have casted for this show. This is the high bar that they could have realistically casted for to want to even go on this show.
Yes, I think that's what that is, and I'm interested to see how they do. I think that this is actually somewhat of a competition there because I genuinely don't. I think I see a front runner. Yeah. But if someone knocks it out of the park like the Boyz did...
I do feel like there is not nearly as obvious a front runner with these groups
as the Mamamoo season.
As Mamamoo or with the Boyz in Road to Kingdom, because I feel like the Boyz were a very big front runner already in that.
They were in terms of popularity, but again, I think that what sealed it is the fact that they knocked it so far out of the park with their performances as opposed to everyone else who was a little bit like... Yeah. No one was putting out that top tier performance every single time.
It's because the Boyz came out with all these stunts that no one knew that the Boyz were even capable of doing, like all these stunts. And every single performance had them, and no one was even coming close to that. So, the entire show. Yeah, but they did. The Boyz did also come in with a pretty massively Korean fan base. Yeah, like a pretty substantial, like more popular than the other groups who were on that show too. So
the only person I could think that was up there was Pentagon,
and then Pentagon just self-destructed themselves on that show. Yes.
Cause like Pentagon in and of itself had more of that international fan base. I don't think in Korea they're still really shaky.
They didn't get a first win until after they were even on Road to Kingdom, so like they were struggling a little bit.
True, but then you have stuff like Shine, which should have been a win.
It should have, but that was unfortunately got like a delayed popularity. So
I also think that a bunch of first win is a very weird. Like I know you have to have some kind of criteria. But having that be the criteria is weird because, again, first wins... Groups get first wins for random songs that just fall at the correct moment when nothing else is coming
all of that
out.
is timing. It's all timing, first wins. And it was weird because they had originally set that for their criteria for Road to Kingdom and then threw it out the window. And it was just, Road to Kingdom was also a disaster of a show. So, like... Yeah. Of course.
I mean, I think that this entire... Any Mnet... Yeah. Any Mnet show is trash. It's terrible to watch. But...
And here we are. And it's the center of our podcast, Mnet shows. At this point.
I mean, we enjoy watching them. I enjoy the people on the shows a lot.
I enjoy the performances a lot. I enjoy... Yeah. But, like, actual, like, format of the show and, like, what they're doing with enforcing these groups through it, I'm like, I hate everything about it. So, not fun.
But back to the Boyz.
The Boyz. Very good.
I don't know if there's anything else we can say, because we did podcast all of Road to Kingdom with the boys.
I wouldn't be surprised if they came into Kingdom and then won again. Like, that wouldn't be surprising to me if they show up with the similar level performances that they were doing in Road to Kingdom. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
The thing with it is, because you also have that Mama performance that the Boyz, ATEEZ, and Stray Kids did.
Oh, yes.
I genuinely think that where that's gonna be interesting is that I think that the Boyz came into this with all these stunts on a show that's way lower budget. Like, because that show seemed low budget. If this is anything like the mob performances, they're upping the budget of the show exponentially.
So let's hope they would for actual Kingdom.
Yeah. But even above Queendom, because Queendom was also a very but again, that was proof of concept.
Yeah. The first season of anything is always kind of that.
Yeah.
I feel like because they had such a high bar that they were setting already, is that they're going to feel they have to come in and do even more, difficult stunts, and I feel like that could be very dangerous for them. Generally, just, like, I don't, like, that's just seems like a really easy way they can injure themselves, and I don't want that to happen for them to do for this, like, bullshit, like, Mnet show, so...
Yeah, no, that is kind of what I'm concerned about with the Boyz. I feel like what could hinder them is that they feel too much pressure from now. Yeah. It's similar to what happened, not to bring them up again, with Pentagon.
Oh, God.
Where, like, that is the only thing that I could feel like would be bad, which is that they have so much to prove to themselves and to everybody else that they, like, did so well, that's what will make them do worse on this season. Yeah. I hope not. I hope they just have fun.
I hope they do too. I don't want this to be, it is gonna be stressful for everybody, but
I hope that the stress comes from, like, oh, I have to do this performance and I want to do it well, not the, oh shit, if I don't do this performance well, my, like, career is over. I have to win this show.
I do think a lot of the groups who agreed to be on the show are more on the show because they want to give their fans, like, really cool, fun performances. I don't think anyone's on this show here to prove anything or to prove their popularity. I genuinely do think it is.
Maybe the Boyz is what I'm only concerned about.
It is, because they did have to win a spot on the show, so they're the only ones who'd be coming in with that.
Yeah, everyone else I think is, and include even the Boyz themselves, but in a way established enough, have a stable fan base. And I think that, like, they can only... The thing here is, all of these groups, like Road to Kingdom, but to a different extent, can only gain here. Yeah. They're established, they have such established fan bases that they're not going to lose anything being on this show. No. Much similar to Queendom, where they will just lose
We're not losing anything, but I also feel like there isn't a lot to gain here either, which is...
No, there is. Yeah. There almost isn't. These groups are already
like nothing to gain, yeah.
Who knows? This might be like an Oh My Girl situation, where it's like, they really blew up after this.
Because there are a lot of groups here that have, like, much larger international fan bases and whose Korean fan bases are a lot smaller. Yeah. So that's
where I think, where I can see them gaining. It's because most of these groups, except maybe BTOB, because they're more of a ballad group.
Yeah, and they are the oldest group here too, so they do have a pretty significantly stable, like, Korean fan base. It's maybe not as big as the general fan base of some of the younger groups, but I mean their fan base is still, like, around.
The thing with their fan base is that their fan base is locked in.
Yeah.
That's the one difference between, like, that and the newer, like, I would say more popular right now groups. Yeah. The problem is a lot of their fans with time will fade. Yeah. BTOB's fans, if you're a BTOB fan in 2020, you're locked.
You're locked in there now.
You're locked in. You're like them. You're like the TVXQ fans. You're locked.
You're there. You're there forever now.
You're in it. But again, I think that the Boyz is going to do great. I think they're going to do as good as they did on Road to Kingdom, and that's going to be incredible. And they might do better because they might have more production value.
That's true. Because they were already putting out pretty high production value stuff in Road to Kingdom. So, like, I can't even imagine if we up the production value what they're going to do on this show. But I'm excited for their performances. They did so good before. I'm just very excited to see what they have to bring next.
Oh, here's a fun question to ask. what is because you know that they're definitely gonna do the one. I hope that they bring back the one where they have to do each other's songs.
Oh, I want that so bad. I want that so bad.
What do you want them to do?
Who do I want the Boyz to do? I think the
Boyz could really do a good SF9.
That's what I was thinking. If SF9 and the Boyz switch songs, that would be fun.
I would say Good Guy, but I feel like I want them to do something totally different. I want them to do like an O Sole Mio, like something totally different than what they've done with their own music, because I feel like Good Guy is kind of similar. RPM. Something totally different than what they're used to.
Mm-hmm. That would be fun.
And
I
then
really want them to bring back the round where we switch songs instead of just doing, let's do random cover songs for 3 rounds. Like, I wasn't a fan of that.
I want them, because there are 2, 4, 6. There are 6 of them.
They can just do that, yeah.
But I say for our purposes, we just do whatever you most want them to.
What would be very weird for the Boyz to try to cover? Like, what's like a
iKON.
weird... I want the Boyz doing Rhythm Top by iKON.
That would mean they have to rely on their rappers.
That would be so weird.
That would
so
be very
weird.
No, I think we can figure this out later, but I have an idea of who could do an iKON song well.
Well,
but,
yeah.
I think that the Boyz should do SF9.
That would be
That'd
fun.
be really fun.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
Alright, so do we want to go on to
Let's move on.
ATEEZ?
ATEEZ.
I really like ATEEZ a lot, and I have since they debuted.
Mm-hmm.
They are, I think, the newest group.
They are.
On this, but I think that they have just sort of blown up a little bit in their, like,
they had,
short time.
Yeah, they had been gaining pretty significant, like, international fandom, at least, since their debut. Mm-hmm. And they had just been increasing that, like, slowly and steadily throughout their entire career so far.
And I think that they are only getting better.
Oh yeah, like I wasn't that big of a fan of like debut era ATEEZ stuff, but I really like their stuff now, and I really liked what they did last year.
Yeah, I think last year was really just like a culmination of them like really understanding what they do. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
And like just going full in on it, and I love what they've been doing.
Yeah, they have been doing fantastic. I really like them now.
They're one of the groups recently. I feel like a lot of newer groups have this weird balance of rap and singing, where it's like one will be incredible and the other one will be they're fine.
Right.
I think both of the parts of ATEEZ are
they're pretty balanced
with each other.
Yeah,
they're very balanced with each other. Because I think a lot of new groups have the problem of, like, you have, like, top-tier rappers.
But, like, your vocalists are, like, not that great, yeah.
Yep. But I'm excited I think ATEEZ could just... I feel like ATEEZ is going to do well, because I think ATEEZ has a lot of,
I think they'll do well, yeah.
They have a lot of vision. They have a lot of control over their own music. I think that they have the ability to just sort of figure out what they... Again, I think that over time they've realized what they do well, and they're just going to play to their own strengths.
Yeah.
What else do we want to say about ATEEZ? I think they're just going to do
They're probably going to do well. I think ATEEZ is also a group that can do really, really well if they're given, like, a high production value, like, performance. I think they can take that and optimize it probably really well.
Yeah, no, they're going to do... I think that the production value, I think the staging for ATEEZ is going to be really good, because I always feel like they can pull off, like, a really big stage.
Yeah.
Very well. Where it's not like they're not going to get swallowed up in it, it's not going to look weird and frantic and cluttered. I think, you know the person I think they are the only
only one who could do
that could cover iKON.
Yeah, probably. I feel like they're the only one who could cover iKON well.
Well.
Yeah.
I would love to see them do Love Scenario.
Well, I think if anyone...
you know the iKON song that the iKON song that they are going to cover.
That is the iKON. If anyone gets iKON, that's the iKON song they're doing is Love Scenario.
Exactly. So I think that ATEEZ is the only ones I trust doing iKON. Because iKON is so rap heavy, so rap focused.
They're so rap heavy.
And like their vocals are also iKON has a weird mix of vocals in that they have a long range of vocalists. They have very
unique vocalists.
Yep. Yeah. So I think you need a bunch of vocalists that sound distinct from each other. And I think that's the reason I trust ATEEZ, because all their vocalists can sort of pull off a different... in a different way, but all of them sound different.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to some idol groups where their vocalists are all good.
They're
but
all
kind
in
of
around like the same like tone and style and everything. Yeah.
So that would be really fun.
Mm-hmm. I want to know who's gonna get like a BTOB song and like what's gonna happen with them.
I mean, they could do something like Beep Beep or like Wow or like early BTOB.
They could do
they don't need to do full ballad BTOB.
They could be I'll Be Your Man is a pretty like
I'll Be Your Man.
Good one to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Movie is also I think one that could be very fun.
I have an idea who to give BTOB to.
Mm-hmm.
So who's next?
Stray Kids.
Stray Kids.
Let's say the two of us should not be allowed to talk about Stray Kids.
Not alone.
Ever.
Not alone.
It's just bad.
So we're gonna tone down our opinions.
Yeah.
Stray Kids recently has not been to our taste.
No, not at all.
But the problem I foresee with Stray Kids is that Stray Kids is also from the biggest company.
Yes, they are. Well, yeah.
Oh no, YG is also here. But also I don't think iKON cares. I think iKON is just... iKON is a bunch of frat guys that ended up in a K-pop group together.
Yep, they are.
Stray Kids is trying to take this serious.
Okay, so my big thing is I see with Stray Kids is I see they have the exact same problem that I think Pentagon and G-Idol had, where they have one or a group of members who are very, very big into self-producing the songs and the concept of the group. And then they jump off a cliff. And then it's like, well, now we're just too far and we don't know what we're doing anymore.
I think the bigger problem with both what G-Idol and Pentagon did was that they tried to make those songs. They were like, oh, we can't just do a cover. We have to completely
They went way too far off the deep end with it.
They wanted to make their mark so completely that it became a different song. That there's a reason those songs are written that way. It's because that's how they sound good. If you start changing everything about the song, it's a different song that people don't like as much.
And if we're just changing the song for the sake of changing the song, it's well, there's no point in changing the song if you're just gonna make it worse now. If we're gonna cover Follow by Monsta X and we're gonna take the chorus and take all of the hype out of the chorus, well now this isn't a good song anymore.
Yep, it's just a different song.
Yeah, it's just different, and different doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah, I mean, different doesn't always mean it's bad, but different also just sort of means that you're doing... It's not the song that they asked you to cover.
No, now it's just a completely different song. And I think...
But also, you can do... And I think we're not saying that you cannot do covers where you completely change the song. A lot of groups do that.
The Boyz did that really well with Vix's Shangri-La. It's a completely different vibe than original Shangri-La, but it's still very good.
Yeah, talking about two groups that are not on this show. Look at the covers that 17 and Mamamoo do of each other's songs.
Yeah, yeah.
Sound nothing like the other song.
But they're still good. Yeah.
But I think trying to do that while also trying to win a competition show, while also that other added pressure, while also probably only having a week to do it, that's so many factors that are just so it's so many variables that you have that they don't have any control over. That's also going to make it much harder to make it a good song.
And I think what is really bad, and this was a very, very, very big problem a lot of groups had on Road to Kingdom, was not only are we going to change the song, but we have to shoehorn a theme in here now. And it's well, now we're just using themes for the sake of it that don't match anything of what we're doing with the song. Because it's you got that with the Egyptian Follow,
the
and then you had
parody.
Aladdin, Go Go Baby, and then there was the Mad Max, very good, and I'm well, now we're just doing dumb things.
I mean, the thing with that is that all of those songs could have had a theme to them. They would lend themselves perfectly to a theme, just not the theme that was chosen.
Not just these weird themes that we're just we're throwing darts at a wall now,
Yeah. Because I think what a lot of them were trying to do was they were trying to do what Oh My Girl did with Destiny, which is Destiny sounds like a completely different song. The problem is Destiny is this slower tempo, almost a ballad, but not quite a ballad.
It's kind of R&B-esque.
It's kind of R&B-esque.
Yeah.
And again, it's a very simple song. not a knock against Destiny, but Destiny's a simple sounding song.
Yeah.
You can change bits of that, and what they did was they added a track under it. Destiny,
and they made it,
and they
made it traditional.
They made it traditional.
Yeah.
And that was, and then
and that
you
it
put
worked.
the theme around that.
Right.
Follow.
I don't know.
Does not sound.
I don't know what happened with that one.
Yeah, Follow is a very loud and busy song.
It's very loud. It's very in your
different.
face. It's very hype, and that's like what the song
Yeah.
is supposed to be. Yeah.
And then every Stray Kids song is also really loud and busy.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that Bang Chan wrote all of these songs. He knows them. I'm hoping he also knows that entirely changing them in a week's time and also re-recording and relearning and choreographing that is hard.
Yeah.
And is a very high bar
The
that
thing
I'm
is
hoping that they avoid.
I don't know if they will, because the other two people who have been in that similar position have not been able to rein it in and make that realization at all. So.
I can hope and I can give advice. I can't make Bang Chan do anything.
Yeah.
Bang Chan and the rest of 3 Racha will not listen to me.
No.
But again, I also think that if them as a whole are able to rein that in,
Yeah.
they could do a lot of good
I
things.
think that's my biggest problem is I can see them, they have the potential to do really well, but I think they have to stop themselves from like self-sabotaging.
Their worst enemy is themselves.
Yeah.
I think. I also think that they also probably have, because Stray Kids has been getting more popular every comeback.
Yeah.
Like, meteorically more, like, selling really well, being a very, very praised and well-loved boy group.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think Stray Kids, who could, I think
they
Stray
could
Kids
also
covering
they
early
could cover
BTOB
I
would
think
be
they
very
could
fun.
cover iKON too.
They could,
because they do
I
have
don't
a rap.
know if they
got
have
rap
the vocalists.
focus.
I think their vocalists sound a
Oh,
little
the vocals
too,
aren't there, but they do have their rap
they do have
line.
the rappers.
Yeah.
The thing is, the rap line is then dividing 2 people's raps amongst like 5 people,
Mm-hmm.
which is harder. I think for me, I think it'd be really fun to have them do really early fun, because
Early B2B.
early B2B, like Beep Beep, or it's not Fly, it's called nope, not Super
I know
Fly,
which
it's
one
a
you're
2-4K
talking about.
song. My brain, what's it called?
No,
Superfly is a 2-4K song. That's not the one I'm thinking of.
it's not, what is it called? What's it
B2.
called?
It's called You're So Fly.
Oh, that's it. There it is.
That's what the song
That's
is.
it.
It's called You're So Fly. Because I think the Stray Kids, has gotten very serious. I would really want this show to be them letting loose. I want another Get Cool. I want another, like, fun,
Awkward silence.
light, awkward silence. Yeah. Be fun, Stray Kids. Be light and fun and
Please.
Sweet. Be
Please.
different. Show a different side of yourself than you do in your comebacks.
Yes.
Which I think is what this show should be. Which is what the Boys did. The Boys doesn't do any of those stunts in their actual
No, they don't.
comebacks.
They don't just do stunts in their choreo every day.
They
like,
still don't. Even after the show, they didn't put someone doing a backflip.
There are no
in the
stunts
Stealer.
in the Stealer. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that ATEEZ showing more of like a love scenario would be really fun and different, and doing a slower, like, just simpler track. I think Stray Kids should do a fun, inspired track.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Next, we go to the one Kayla was most scared
I don't
about
want
happening.
them here. I don't want them here.
Here's the thing. Right after we got a Pentagon announcement, and I'm like, mainly because I find it's still in my brain. They're not. Pentagon and SF9 are on the same level.
They debuted in the same week and have been constantly compared as like rival groups since debut,
which makes no sense.
It's just dumb. Because you don't see people doing that with like Very Very and One Us all the time. Like it's annoying.
But that I think it's mostly that, you know, Cube and FNC are very similar companies.
Yeah.
A lot of people get Cube and FNC groups confused all the time. Just generally.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're very, like, in terms of size, in terms of group caliber, very similar companies. So I think that they were primed for that to happen. But yeah, you were not happy when the rumors of this started. I think we talked about this.
I knew they were probably gonna be here, but I'm like, I really don't want them here.
Yeah, I don't want it. I think that here's the thing. I think they're gonna do fine. I think they're gonna do pretty decently.
Yeah.
I think that what they might be is a little bit boring.
They're gonna be boring, I think, yeah.
Because I don't know if they're gonna go as all in as all the other groups.
Yeah. SF9 is not a group who has done a lot of like heavy, like high value performance level stages ever before. And so I don't really know what they would be like with that because they just have never done it before. Yeah.
I don't know what in a high epic, like if they were in that Mama performance with ATEEZ, Stray Kids, and the Boyz,
what do they do? Like, I don't know what they do.
I don't know.
Because I think SF9 as a group is just like so average, like around the board, just like very average.
In terms of member quality, not in terms of SF9 as a whole. SF9 as a whole is great.
They're so average, like
because they have average rappers and like good singers, but none of their singers, I would say, are like
they don't have like a power vocal,
not a power vocal, and they make it work really well on their songs. Like, and SF9 is one of my favorite that's like groups.
What you should be as a group is like you shouldn't have individual members being brought down by a group. You should put people in a group and then everyone together is just like better.
Good.
And so I feel like that's a good thing. But also, like, now that we're on the show like this, it's like, now I don't know, because now if we're doing individual performances where everyone kind of stands in, like, comparison to the other groups here.
Yeah. I mean, I think to illustrate that really well is I'm not going to name names.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in your mind right now, picture the group where you know the one super talented member.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. Whatever one's in your mind is an example of that. Where it's like there's the one.
There's so many groups like that.
Yeah, there's the one like ultra talented member, and then everyone else is good.
Mm-hmm.
But they look worse because they're compared to them, and that person has to like tone it down because no one else is up there.
And it's like because you could argue SF9 has that because of Rawoon, but Rawoon has it because of his face and he's an actor.
His actor.
It's like when you put him in SF9, talent-wise, he's very average still. So
again, no one in they have, and that's similar thing with Unwoo from Astro.
Yeah.
Astro is a similar group that I can
Astro's that's got the like exact same thing. Yeah,
it's the same thing. Everyone is great. People know Unwoo because of his acting.
Yeah.
But when you put him in Astro, he's not like exceptionally like out vocal, like out rapping, like everything else is he's on par with the other members of Astro.
Yeah.
And that group works in tandem so well because of that.
Oh yeah. I was almost thinking Astro was like possibly going to be on this show too because
that would have been my please God no.
Please God no.
Please God no.
I do have a very strong feeling that if we do get eliminations here, SF9 is getting eliminated first.
I think so.
At that point, I'm very happy because they just have to spend less time on this show and wasting time here. So like that's fine. Like. Just leave now.
And, like, I feel like we are very negative about this. We love SF9.
Oh, SF9 is in our top 3 boy group for me.
SF9 is in, like, my top 10 boy groups, right? So, like, it's not that we dislike SF9. It's mainly that that
I hate this show so much, and I don't want them to be here because they're just gonna waste time here and then put out maybe, like, average performances.
Yeah.
And get eliminated first. Like,
the thing with the show is that we like this show when it's groups that we like, but these are not our ultimate. None of these groups, other than SF9, and for me, ATEEZ, but I think ATEEZ is new enough where I am confident that they're gonna do fine.
Yeah.
And like they can really thrive on this show. SF9 is a group that I'm concerned about, that I'm just like, you know what, this is not for you.
Yeah. I do think because SF9 has like very little creative control as over their music and their concept as a group.
Well, so did a lot of the Queendom groups.
Yeah, but because of that, I do think they at least they won't fall into the self-destructing themselves as a group because none of them have like there's not someone who has control over that within the group.
But neither did Very Very, and then we ended up with the Go Go Baby Aladdin performance.
Yeah. At least Very Very as a group, I don't think self-destructed in the way the Pentagon did, though, where it was like, now we're off the deep end, but... So, because like, it's like all that SF9 really has is Zuho is allowed to have a B-side on an album every once in a while, and that's like all of the members are really allowed to do within them, so... I'm hoping that they like all I want from them is I want them to come out of the show with like no net negative on anything. If they come out of the show gaining nothing, I feel like that's a win. Like
true. Just don't embarrass yourselves.
Don't embarrass yourselves, please. That's
all we can do.
Another thing I will say is I am kind of I know it's gonna happen because you know how like Jang Joon kind of had the thing because you get the loud, obnoxious person who's like kind of funny, and like that's gonna be Dawon for sure.
It is gonna be Dawon.
But he's gonna be so much more obnoxious.
So a lot of our opinions on SF9 is that there's always the extrovert in every group. Mm-hmm. I think the problem is that like I think Jang Joon was in Golden Child. Never mind.
Yep.
Golden Child is that Golden Child has Jang Joon and also a couple other people that also are around him that make that fine.
Jang Joon also kind of is self-aware enough to know when to rein it in a little bit and like when to stop. Yeah, Dawon doesn't have that.
No, Dawon is also in a group of I think who are entirely introverts.
Very boring people.
8 out of 9 people are introverts that just are here to like I've seen like I watch SF9 variety shows. I watch a bunch of their behind the scenes stuff. They're very sweet.
So much
I love them as people. Like they're very sweet boys.
Yeah.
But they're not the super extroverted like out there goofballs like and I think that's great because sometimes that's that's very forced. Mm-hmm. Dawon, I can tell this is his personality. This is not an act. This is how he is in life.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just, especially when he's at a 12 and everyone else is at like a 6, because that's how they live their lives. And I'm also someone who lives their life at like a 6.
Yeah. He seems like an exhausting person to be around.
Yeah.
And the thing is I've seen him on variety shows where the actual variety show hosts are like, you need to tone it down because he's just way too much for them.
I mean, the other thing is, in a way, I almost think he tries to compensate for everyone else not being
anything, yeah.
Like, I think that this is his personality, just upped a little bit more because no one else goes out there like that.
No one else is giving them anything, yeah.
Because, again, I think SF9 is, again, a group of very similar... in terms of talent people who again are not super out there because the thing with Jang Joon is that Jang Joon has I think a couple other members of Golden Child are also very not to his level but also like they'll play along with that,
right?
And then you have the introverts in that way.
You occasionally get like In-sung and Jae-yoon sort of with doing stuff with him, but they're just kind of like humoring him in a way.
They're humoring their little brother in a way. This is like, oh shit, mom made me go play with my little brother. I guess I'll keep him entertained until the sugar crash happened. I always feel like Dawon's on a sugar high.
At all times, yep.
Like, he just eats pure sugar.
Only sugar.
Only sugar. Like, not even like chocolate. Just
straight up sugar. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
he's got too much energy.
He has a lot of energy, and I think that the other issue is not so much that, is that also that it's just around people that don't
have that energy. Yeah.
And won't, and they also don't. Like they let him do it, and they'll laugh along sometimes, but they won't engage in that.
Right, because just putting like Dawon like right next to Taeyang, and Taeyang is like not doing anything the entire time. It just like barely speaks. And then Dawon is just like has to compensate for like there's a couple other people in the group who are just like who barely ever speak when you go on variety shows. It's like Youngbin only speaks because he's the leader, and like yeah.
And Rowoon and Channy do it because they are actors and they know how to handle all this. I think that in terms of SF9, without Dawon, they are kind of a bit of a boring but they're pleasant and they're fun and they'll play the games, but they're just not loud.
Yeah, they're not.
No one in SF9 is loud.
No.
Except for Dawan.
Except for Dawan. Yeah.
But
Dawan's
like,
very loud.
If you
take him away.
If you take him away, they're like... Again, I don't want to compare them to Astro, but Astro can get loud. They can scream, but like for the most part, they're kind of like... They don't have a massive extrovert.
Yeah.
Like that. The closest I can think is maybe like MJ.
Yeah, but MJ is like nowhere close to the level
to Dawan.
Dawan's
I love it now. I've realized that SF9 and Astro
very
are
similar. They're kind of the same. Yeah.
This is what I'm getting from this, and also it's very fun.
Yeah, this is just the realizations we've made over the course
live
of this
on
podcast.
air, guys. Yeah. Live as we recorded this, we are coming to the realization that Astro and SF9 are
very similar.
Very similar groups.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I think that they're gonna be fine. I'm hoping that they can pull off one, like,
I would like at least one very good I would like one very good performance. If they give me like a couple of like just like mediocre okay performances, I'd also be okay with that.
Yeah.
I really just
don't embarrass yourself.
I'm so afraid they're gonna be bad, and then I'll just be sad.
So, who do we think that they could cover?
Well, we said the Boyz. I think that would be fun for them to cover the Boyz. I would like them to cover like Reveal, or the Stealer. That would be very fun. Yeah.
Or even something like their earlier SF9 trying to do Giddy Up.
Giddy Up.
Giddy up. That'd be fun.
I don't like what else does SF9 do? I think they could do like they could do early BTOB, I think too.
They could. I mean, they could, but I think switching them together would be very fun.
Yeah.
Alright. So up next, we have iKON.
Oh, iKON.
The group that we at one point had as a joke in our mind. We literally
what
joked
if
about iKON being on this show.
And now they're actually
it
here.
Will never happen. And then we get like the rumors that they're gonna be on the show, and we're like, excuse you?
And,
like,
now iKON's on the show.
I'm almost happy about that, because I think that iKON...
Like, who would have expected a YG boy group to go on this show? Like, never would have actually expected that to happen.
Yeah, it's odd. I don't know how I feel about it as a concept of a YG boy group. The thing with this is that I don't know how they're gonna do, because I have no clue of what a YG group on an Mnet survival show would do.
No, because no one has done that.
This.
So, like, what are we doing? Yeah, like, no idea.
This will just be they will set the groundwork.
Yep.
Maybe next season we'll get Treasure.
Maybe we get Treasure on
In
Road
a way,
to Kingdom.
I almost expected... I would have expected Treasure more than iKON.
I don't think they could have put them on here, because, I mean, yes, they do so well, but they're so new, I don't think they could have, like, actually, like, logically put them here.
True, but in a way, I would just, like... iKON just feels odd here.
Mm-hmm.
But that'd be interesting. I think it'll be interesting.
I do think iKON probably does thrive in the high, like, stage performance, like, style performances, because they've done a lot of it.
They have already the experience of doing both win and mix and match.
They have already done 2 survival shows. ATEEZ...
And they already
let's look
put
at the
out
groups here, because ATEEZ hasn't done a survival show.
No.
Neither has BTOB.
Neither has BTOB.
The Boyz have done this show before already. Stray Kids and SF9 were both made on survival shows. And then iKON did 2. 2 in a row.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Yeah.
And also, they made one of my favorite survival show songs. They made Climax.
Yes.
If they can just tap into the pure emotion that is Climax in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one of my favorite variety show performances. And I'm still bitter that they lost off of Climax.
Yeah.
That's a highlight right there.
It's real good.
But Climax. These are not where I'm going to start my opinions about win. This is not where
That's for another episode.
That we're probably going to make this year with the amount that we're already making. This is the
year of survival shows this year at this point.
Exactly. So just wait for our retrospective on win and mix and match.
Yeah.
No, don't wait for that. You'll wait forever. But I think iKON is just going to do whatever they want.
I don't think iKON really cares that much.
I don't think they care.
Yeah.
I think iKON generally doesn't care, because I think iKON just does whatever they want anyway. especially recently with everything iKON has gone through. They are just... I mean, this is the first, not to bring him back up, but this is the first thing iKON is really going to do without BI.
Yeah, because their last comeback was still a BI-produced song, yeah.
Yeah. So this is, like, the first thing that they're going to do entirely on their own, which is what gives me some pause, because now, who's running the show? Bobby?
I guess Bobby's running the show now. Like, who knows, honestly.
Because BI was the only thing holding that down to be somewhat
It's
coherent.
like, it's so interesting, because we talked about how, like, Stray Kids has the issue of, like, they self-produce so much they can go too far. Well, iKON has just lost their member who does that, so, like, now what do?
So now what do we give YG back the control?
Like, who knows, honestly.
Does G-Dragon come in and
G-Dragon
just guide these boys?
Come through?
Does G-Dragon just come in and just is like, look, don't worry, I got this. Even though G-Dragon has done none of the... I mean, a Big Bang was made on a variety, but that was 10 years ago.
That was a lot of years ago, yeah.
He was a baby.
Yep.
But, I don't know if I trust YG. That's the big thing.
So I have no more faith left in that company as a whole. So, like, there's
what do we even do with them?
And it's like, iKON is such a weird group to just be on one of these, like, bullshit, like, survival shows, too. And I'm just like, I don't know what to expect from any of it, because it just seems so out of place in a way.
Yeah, I don't know how I think that they will really be because I don't think they're going to actively be terrible, just because I think that iKON has enough self-awareness in a way to know when things are
going off the rails.
That at least if what it is, it'll be weird and fun. I could be entirely wrong that they have this self-awareness, but I think that they do.
Let's hope that they do.
Let's hope
that their past experience from survival shows and having to put together, like, you know, these types of performances before, like, helps them out. But that has been, like, several years ago at this point, too. So, like, maybe they've lost that knowledge. And also, like, various
member changes and also the status of YG and also everything has changed.
iKON's been through a lot.
Yeah. So I don't know. This could be amazing. This could be terrible. I'm like 50-50
We could really get anything from them. Honestly.
They're the wild card.
They are.
I legitimately thought I was going to make B2B the wild card, but no, I think iKON is the true
because
wild
iKON
card.
is just, like, what they've gone through so much in, like, the last couple of years that it's, like, I don't know what to expect from them anymore.
Yeah. So then we go to the group that really does not care.
No.
What happens on this show, and that's B2B.
Yeah. B2B, I think, declined an offer to go on the show originally, and then somehow were convinced to do it.
I think that they were... So from what it says in the reporting, it says initially turned down the offer, but ultimately accepted after in-depth discussions.
Yep.
Which I think is just them saying, look, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Just go on this show and do something.
I also want to point out that SF9 also got a casting offer for Road to Kingdom and turned it down, and now here they are on Kingdom Legendary War.
Yep.
It's like, okay.
So, here's the thing with B2B. B2B right now is 4 people. So really, it's B2B for you.
We have a B2B subunit, essentially,
Because right now is Eunkwang, Minhyuk, Chansub, and Peniel. Those are the only 4 people available.
That's what we got at B2B right now.
Yeah, because Ilhoon already left. And then Sungjae and
Hyunsik are in the military.
right now. So there's 4 of them. Really, I think that they did not put B2B for you because branding is much more on the B2B side. I think B2B will not care, and I think this is where we're gonna get some weird-ass performances.
I'm just trying to imagine the type of performances we're getting out of B2B, and I'm like, so we got half of them are rappers, too.
Yes.
So they can't even go the Mamamoo level of, like, we're just gonna do vocal ballads, because half of them are rappers. So I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. So, who did we have doing a B2B song? Oh, fuck. That would mean they have to cover Stray Kids. Oh, damn. Oh, no.
What does B2B do with Stray Kids? Like,
I don't know. Wait.
What group here does B2B even cover?
Wait. we do a completely different idea. I have a way to save this.
You
I have a way to save
you
this.
save it? Oh, do they get
iKON does Stray Kids.
Yeah.
And then BTOB does ATEEZ, but ATEEZ still does iKON and Stray Kids still does BTOB.
Or
it's like a round robin.
Or no,
it's like a circle.
Does BTOB win that lovely thing if they can just pick someone else to cover instead?
Or that.
Yeah.
Again, the only way I could see it being saved is if iKON does Stray Kids does ATEEZ, ATEEZ does iKON, and then Stray Kids does BTOB.
I'm like, it's weird.
That's the
like,
way
what,
I can
what
save
does BTOB like? What do they do?
BTOB for You covers BTOB.
Yeah, they cover regular BTOB.
They cover regular No, they're another Cube group. They just cover Beast.
Beast, yeah. Well, I don't know if they can do Beast anymore because now Beast is because of the I don't know whatever was going on there.
Who knows?
Yeah, with the copyright and everything.
I don't know anymore. But what I am saying is that I think BTOB is just gonna, because if you see anything with BTOB, because I remember this has already been years at this point, but that old Weekly Idol that had BTOB, GFriend,
GOT7 and Twice. Yeah.
Where, like, BTOB were just, they're the old men. That's the joke.
They were the old men.
I remember, my favorite part will always be the part of that Weekly Idol where they had to do, because double speed dances were super popular.
Oh, and then people are just, like, falling down in the middle of it. Yeah.
Because BTOB is, they don't dance anymore.
I think Hyunse just falls over in the middle of the song, yeah.
Yeah, he just busts it, and they all just start,
and
like,
he's just
they
on
realize
the floor.
that they can't do it.
Yeah.
And they have, I think BTOB is a group that has enough self-awareness to know that they are not they're not Stray Kids. They're not ATEEZ. They don't have the they're not the Boyz. They can't do what the Boyz are doing.
No.
They will break a hip.
They're old now. Point. They're the old men. They're the old men of this show.
So what I think that if there's a group
they debuted in 2012, didn't they?
Hold on. Google, when did BTOB debut? They debuted in 2012, yeah.
Yeah, so they're real old, like.
Yeah, it's been 9 years at this point.
Because that's 3 years older than iKON, who's the next oldest group on this in the show. So they're very old.
So I think the thing with that is that they are also like they don't have as many members as they did before. I think that they are gonna. I think that they're genuinely the ones that are gonna have so much fun. If there's a group that I think is going to get eliminated first,
yeah,
I also think it might be BTOB. That might be how they.
If their core fandom doesn't like show up for them, then yeah, maybe.
I mean, even if their core fandom does show up, maybe again, I don't trust Mnet's voting system. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's how they got them in. They're like, look, just be in the show until the first elimination,
and then you can just leave. Yeah,
we can let you go.
And then we can let you go. Yeah. Oh boy. It's so weird because it's like I'm also thinking about the one song they have as a subunit and it was like a weird tropical house song and I'm just like so I don't even know what the style of really anything that they're
doing BTOB is
current BTOB and like what I'm trying to think of what covers they do and I'm just like I have no idea because it's such a weird cluster of people too.
Yeah.
That, like it's so weird everything about what they're gonna do on this show.
Yeah, I think that what they're gonna do is gonna be questionable. Mm-hmm. But I am excited. In a way, I'm honestly excited to see it. Just because, like, in Queendom, you had... The equivalent to that was Park Bom.
Oh, yeah.
Park Bom had way too much to prove. Park Bom had too much to prove to herself and to everybody else. She was basically the first thing she'd done solo in years. BTOB has been doing this since 2012.
Yeah, like, BTOB has nothing to prove.
They have nothing to prove.
Yeah.
Even to themselves. I think BTOB is confident in everything that they've already done.
Yeah.
They're so ridiculous and out there that I don't think you can do what they do without being confident.
Yeah.
They're halfway between, like, the thing with BTOB is BTOB is also going to be very funny in the behind the scenes stuff because they don't care.
No, not at all.
BTOB is going to be because that's almost the difference between that and SF9. BTOB is also loud and out there.
Yeah.
But all of them are almost equally so. All of them are ridiculous.
They've always been very loud. BTOB is
They always have.
Yeah.
I still remember bits of, like, you hear them.
Yeah.
They're just loud.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun, and that's where I think that they could do. I think this is where you're gonna get the pure, I'm here for fun. I'm not here to prove anything to anybody. I'm just here to have fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do feel like maybe that was a thing that Mnet told them. He was like, wouldn't this be nice for your fans to, like, for you to put on some, like, just really nice stages for your fans, and, like, that's all you really need to do here. Like, you don't have to put in all this effort for it.
You can't tour right now. Mm-hmm. You're not all of your members are here.
Yeah. So, like, what else are you doing? Yeah.
You have to pass the time.
Right.
And not be completely, like, radio silent for the next 2 years. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for. I think
it'll be interesting for sure.
In the beginning, I was not on board with BTOB being on the show. I think in the middle of this conversation, I sort of turned around on it, where I'm like, this is like the purest, I don't care, I'm here to have fun energy, and I think I don't
necessarily think that they're gonna put on good performances, but I at least don't think they're gonna care about it at all.
The thing is, unlike a lot of the bad performances from Road to Kingdom and from Queendom.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be trying ridiculously hard to put on a good performance. Yeah. I think that they are just, this is going to, if it's bad, it's at least going to be
bad, but at least it's like fun. Kind of fun, yeah.
Yeah, at least I can tell they're having fun. A lot of Road to Kingdom was they don't look like they're having fun. Mm-hmm. They look like they're taking this way too seriously and are just going to be disappointed at the end.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, that's all the groups on the show.
Yes. And then we have the host of the show. Because instead of getting just generic, like, actors? South Korean host or whatever, we have TVXQ now, who are going to host the show.
My question is this what SM gave Mnet as a, like, compensation for sending none of the NCT units? It's like, no, we can't
send NCT, but here's TVXQ.
I don't know why they didn't send NCT Dream. I didn't want NCT Dream.
The thing is I also think they could have sent Super Junior.
They also could have just sent Super, but I don't think you can have Super Junior and BTOB.
No, you can't have both of those together.
You can't, or you could.
With iKON and Stray Kids.
With iKON and Stray Kids. I think the one you bump is, the Boyz has already been on this. If the Boyz had refused, like, because they always had the option to not go.
Yeah, but just to think about, if your big three company representatives, you have Stray Kids, and you have iKON, and then you have Super Junior.
That's amazing lineup.
That would have been fun.
SM, you still have time to add a group to this show. They haven't started shooting. Send Super Junior.
Let's get Super Junior. Let's get Super Junior D and E.
Oh, get Super D and E only.
Only D and E.
I just love that. And then, like, in the middle, you just see them chatting with with TVXQ. You just see them chatting with BTOB, who they definitely just like, yeah, no, it's been years. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What is this? Mm-hmm. I think they couldn't because Suju's doing their big 15th anniversary.
Yeah, and I don't think Super Junior's wasting time on the Mnet Survival Show. Like, no. We're above that. Well, TVXQ is, but they're hosts, so I guess it's a higher caliber. I guess, I don't know.
They're gonna be a very fun host.
Yeah, I'm so interested to see TVXQ as the host of this. I'm excited.
It's gonna be very fun. Mm-hmm. I think that they are going to, because I like when these shows are hosted by idols, because you then they know how to actually interact with the idols, where it doesn't feel like, because that was the thing with Road to Kingdom, also because of COVID restrictions, a lot of, especially with super, super young groups, mm-hmm. there's always that weird awkwardness.
Yeah.
These groups are not super young. They've been doing this for years. They already know how to interact with on these kind of interviews, so that'll be fine. Yeah. But also TVXQ's, I think, just gonna also not care. Right. Because again, have nothing to prove to anybody, already so established, and neither of them are super big actors that they need to, like, maintain that part of that reputation.
Oh, yeah.
That stoicness.
Right.
Of an actor. Mm-hmm. But they're gonna be fun.
It'll be fun. I find it so funny that they just got and TV when it came out, like, oh, iKON SF9 BTOB confirmed. Also, TVXQ are gonna host. Like, yes.
Not
This is great.
TVXQ were gonna be there. TVXQ were gonna host.
Yes.
Then again, TVXQ's been doing this for almost, 20 years?
So long. It's been so long at this point. I think they're close to 20 years.
Close to 20.
Yeah. I think they're at 18.
Kasuju just did 15.
Yeah, I think Kasuju was
So
was it 2003? Yeah. So
oh my god.
So they're at
TVXQ
18 years,
has been doing this longer than some of these members have been alive.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
Oh no, not these people. These people are all over 18.
Well, I don't know how young the youngest person in the Boyz is.
But I think they're okay, but maybe like one person. But like if this would, God, can you imagine if they hosted Road to Kingdom?
That would have been weird.
Them and two?
Two.
Oh boy. But I am excited for this. I think that there's
everyone is older than
yeah.
TVXQ as a group, yes.
There's parts of the show that I'm very excited for. There's parts of the show I am not excited for. But overall, I think this show is going to be weirder than Road to Kingdom.
It'll be
very
weird.
I also feel like it's going to be... There's potential for it to be better.
There is. I do think there's a lot of potential to be better than Road to Kingdom.
And also, I think that the bad parts are at least going to be interestingly bad.
Yes.
Because looking at the groups, looking at the because that's the thing. Road to Kingdom, they were so new. All of these groups were so new, except for Pentagon.
Yeah.
And Pentagon in and of itself would have like a bunch of groups older than them in this, and would be one of the younger groups here.
Mm-hmm.
But they're so young. This, you have the history, you have the journey. As opposed to new groups that I have no as much attachment to. Like,
right.
Looking at everything that happened in the history of, like, iKON and BTOB.
Yep. Oh, man.
You just have, like... It does color your opinions about certain things about the group.
Yeah.
So that was our pre-show.
Pre-show for Kingdom Legendary War.
Kingdom Legendary War.
Yep.
Still a terrible name.
It's a horrible name. Horrible name. Or it's like a horrible, like, subtitle to put on the show, I guess.
But the thing is, I think they had to have a subtitle.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're, again, even more confused with the boy group and Netflix show.
I feel like they were calling it, like, Comeback King or something initially before it got canceled and then delayed till this year. Yeah. Because it was supposed to air last year, and then it got canceled. And now we're at Legendary War. Because I guess we have to make that fake drama somewhere in the show, so...
I have a feeling with a name like Legendary War, because the one thing that none of these shows have had is intergroup drama.
Yeah.
Where,
we're gonna get it this time.
Even when they had the two groups work together, like when they had, like, the best one, Us and the Boyz, there was no drama, even with any of that.
No.
I feel like with a title like Legendary War, something's gonna happen.
It's also
at least it's gonna be edited to look like something happened.
And the fandoms are, like, going crazy already. Just the fact of our group is on the show against these other groups, so now we have to bash these other groups because, of course,
so now these other groups suck.
Because now everyone else on the show sucks, and I'm just like,
somehow
this is gonna be a disaster.
My favorite thing is that every once in a while you'll see them bashing even, like, TVXQ. I'm like, TVXQ is hosting. Leave them alone. They're like, TVXQ's old. TVXQ and BTOB are old, and I'm like, TVXQ's hosting. They're not even involved.
Right.
Also, don't call, like, we know we've called BTOB old, but being old is not a problem here.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird.
It's so weird. It's like because
as soon as
I also just love that. Of course, Mnet used ATEEZ, Stray Kids, and the Boyz' entire stage at Mama to advertise this show because, of course, they used them for that.
My favorite thing was that right after this, there was the possibility that they were going to cancel the show.
It was all. I was like, is it going to get canceled after they just used up all this space
or
for
like delayed again?
Yeah.
Because I think that they were having trouble finding, like, that's when they had to go into in-depth discussions with BTOB.
Because they casted Road to Kingdom too high, and so they left themselves with, like, very few groups they could even try to convince to do this.
The other thing was, like, they couldn't get, because the thing with boy groups is that there's, like, a threshold where you're like, they're not gonna go on this show.
Yeah.
Because you can't go too high, because the top tier aren't coming. And then you can't go too low, or the Road to Kingdom groups look even worse.
Yeah.
I think they should just cancel Road to Kingdom.
Honestly.
Road to Kingdom messed this up. Because, again, if you look at, like, if you had looked at the cast of Queendom, in terms of popularity, you could have still had Pentagon, because they would have fit perfectly there.
Yeah.
I think if you had waited maybe another year, you could have had ONEUS on there.
Yeah. I think
And,
you wait like another year on Road to Kingdom, and you could put almost every single one of those groups on there except for 2, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 2, you'd only need to wait like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because they literally were on that show before they debuted.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow.
I just think that we need to be put in charge of Mnet reality shows. Mnet,
we have so much knowledge on Mnet reality shows now that it's like, might as well.
Look, you want to know what would be a better show?
What's
and
a better
this is
show?
a thought I just had.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know how we've realized that Mnet really now likes K-Connect?
Yes.
Which is probably better than, because they can get whoever they want, they don't have to leave the comfort of their own home.
Yeah.
Just do a show weekly where you're make these stages. Don't make this a competition. Do collaborations between groups. Do this.
Yeah.
Just don't make it a competition. And it's similar to The Masked Singer. Once. You don't have to be on the whole season. You can do it once or twice.
Yeah.
Make it like a Masked Singer thing where you're just like, and then you can do like 3 rounds. You can win the 3 rounds, or you can lose it, or you lose it.
It's just like kind of like when what is that? Hit the Stage was, where it's like you come on for a couple of weeks, you do a cool performance, and then you can leave, and it's like the competition. There's like no stakes because it's just you win the round. Yeah, you win the episode. That means nothing. So like, yeah.
Don't make this show again.
Exactly.
Hit the Stage was a great show.
Hit the Show is great. I love that show.
Bring back Hit the Stage, Mnet. That's the show you need to bring back.
I know, and that's like the show. Of course, they got 1 season, and it was just over.
Yeah, of course.
But
that's the thing. I think you make this show make it either Masked Singer or the way they did Hit the Stage, and then you will get big groups. I could see 17 doing an episode of that show.
Yeah.
Where they can do 3 performances or something. I could see bigger groups doing it. I think that you could, in a way, get big groups like, I think NCT would do it.
Yeah.
I think maybe Super Junior would do it then.
Because there's like, when the time commitment is less, and you don't have to and there are no stakes, and it's just for fun. Like, of course, groups would be rolling.
If you do well, you have that moment, and that moment will get talked about for years.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, in terms of Queendom, most of those performances they're pointless because they're just, no one talks about them anymore. You talk about the Destiny performance, and what else was a highlight of that show? No one cared.
No one cares, really.
No one cares about the other ones, but you have Destiny, which is like something that people keep talking
about.
The
original songs, I will say, are something that people really like. Like, Lion was pretty big from that, because that was originally there.
But I almost still think people mostly remember it as a single, not so much as a Queendom thing. But the thing with that is that I also think that you could do that just as well if you had an episode of original songs of this random Mnet
I know, like,
show.
it's dumb.
Because you're not gonna get the top tier groups for a whole season. And then you mix them in with some of the new goose, where, like, 1 episode, you can only have one of the top... And then you'll have more regular people, obviously. But, like, Taemin did Hit the Stage for 1 episode.
And then Taemin won, and then he left.
And then Taemin left.
Yeah.
Shiny could be on the show for 1 episode and then not come back.
Exactly.
But, or you're gonna keep doing this as a full season and never get Shiny at all. That's just the truth.
Yep. It's weird because Queendom, I think we wouldn't have Road to Kingdom or Kingdom if Queendom hadn't been successful, but it's also like very weird because I still feel like the show format is like very broken still, so I don't...
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I still think they're trying to troubleshoot that in a way because Road to Kingdom was a different show and it was formatted differently, but also it was Road to Kingdom, so it did have to be different. But also,
I think this will be the barometer of if they're gonna keep the show the same.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they're gonna drastically change. Or if they're gonna do a weird combination of Queendom and Road to Kingdom.
Yeah. Because Queendom did have the possibility of eliminations already in that show. It just never happened because, of course, it didn't.
I think you just gotta get rid of that entirely.
I don't understand why it has to be there to begin with, because, like, you're not gaining anything from it. You just have, like, one group's fandom who just completely drops the show after they're gone. Like, that's all you're doing, and it's so stupid.
Because the thing with the eliminations is that eliminations only work if there's an end goal that matters. Eliminations work on a show like Produce 101 and Island. Not to bring that show, I can't bring that show up every episode. But for Produce 101 and Island, because the end goal is to be in a group. You get something out of that.
Right.
And then you have smaller shows where there are eliminations, but they don't mean anything, similar to like a Masked Singer or Hit the Stage. Hit the Stage didn't have...
No, there's like nothing.
Didn't have eliminations, but you have a winner at the end of the episode. But those aren't really competition shows. Those are just...
That's like, we're doing it for fun. Like, it's not...
We're doing this for fun, and we're doing this to showcase either our singing ability or our dancing ability.
Right.
There really is... I think that this show is trying too hard to be in a Produce when it should be a Hit the Stage.
It's trying to make drama out of nothing is essentially what it's doing. And
because the thing is, they can't make drama out of... Because you have to fill an entire season of airtime... You can't make drama with the actual people because these are idols. They can't start fighting.
Yeah.
But you also have to fill airtime, so you have to make some kind of drama. So it's, ooh, we're going to get them eliminated. For no reason. They lose nothing if they're eliminated. Because there are no stakes.
Because the producer of the show said he was concerned that, like, groups weren't going to work hard enough if there weren't any stakes, because if no one got eliminated. And then I'm just like, well, that's dumb. But okay, sure.
That just means you have a broken show.
Yeah. Because all you won on Road to Kingdom was you get to be on actual Kingdom, which is pretty lame. The price to begin with.
Because
the price for Queendom is all you got. You got was a comeback showcase on Mnet. And I'm like, well, this is like not. It's like a good prize, I guess, but it's like the stakes. It means nothing.
Yeah, did Mama Bear even use that?
I don't know if they. I feel like they did. They did. Yeah.
Oh. But the other thing with that is that at that point, just take the format of... Was Hit the Stage Mnet? I'm 99...
I'm pretty sure it was.
It is. I'm 99% sure it is. But
I'm pretty sure Hit the Stage was Mnet.
Yeah. Before I say... Yes, it was Mnet. You already have a show where... Also, I think... Masked Singer is not Mnet.
It's not.
But you already have two massively... I don't know how successful... Hit the Stage was, but Masked Singer's massively successful, and Hit the Stage had massive names. It had Taemin, it had Ten, it had people that... It had the last thing that Hyunsung did for years.
It was the only thing he did for years.
It had members of GOT7, it had a lot of big names on it.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
And, again, take that and expand it to be either, like... If you don't want to do full groups, make it soloists, make it like members of different groups doing like a full stage.
Mm-hmm.
Do something interesting with it. I think that making it a full season of the same people.
Yeah.
More people are going to work harder on one performance that they have to nail or they look like an embarrassment on national television than an entire season where maybe they can slack off for one performance. If that's what he's worried about, is that people will not work as hard.
Mm-hmm.
Just change just do a little tweak of the format.
Just make your show better. Like,
make your show better.
Yeah.
Hire me and Kayla.
Hire us, Mnet.
Hire us, Mnet.
We have so much knowledge on your survival show.
We have
all of the knowledge.
Shows. I think before we get even more angry, we need to end this.
Speaking of Mnet survival shows, coming in 2 weeks from now, we will be starting Produce Month in March, because I'm just going to start advertising it now. We're doing it sooner than we expected, because I know we had mentioned it in our past 2 episodes where we covered Produce 101 Japan and then Idol Producer. But we did move it up, because we were originally going to wait for IZ*ONE's expandment date, but then with the whole timing of everything, we just decided to get it all over in March for our own mental sanity.
And also, we have finished watching the show, and I think the sooner we get it out there, the sooner we can... move on with our lives.
Yes, but we will have all of March. We have 4 Protos themed podcast episodes, 5 bonus videos. It'll be very fun. I'm very excited for it.
We've put so much work into this.
So much research has gone into it, really.
This is like college. I never had to do a college thesis, but I feel like this is more work than I would have done.
This is an audio thesis on the Produce series, like cross-country Produce series, like
all of Produce.
Yes. So look forward to that in March.
Look forward to that, and yes, we did. Yes, if you are listening to these in order, we did do 2 Produce episodes. A non-Produce episode.
But an Mnet survival show episode.
Don't worry, next week, nothing to do with that.
No, next week is our 50th episode, so we do have a fun, like, non-typical episode for that, which will be exciting. But that'll be our little break in between the Mnet survival shows before we're stuck in that for a whole month, so. Yes.
So this'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. It'll be fun.
But, so that's been our episode for this week.
Yeah, if you are listening to us on YouTube, we also are available on all major podcasting platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. And if you're listening to us there, we also have a YouTube channel where we post a lot of fun extra clip videos. And if you are going to be interested in Produce Month, you won't want to miss those ones because those will be very much related to our podcast episodes. And we also have a Twitter account and a K-pop collection Instagram if you want to follow either of those for more stuff from us. But yes, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys next week. Bye!